For decades, Cuba has symbolized Cold War tensions with the United States. But now, Washington is focusing on a different threat: drones. According to classified intelligence cited by Axios, US officials believe Cuba has acquired more than 300 military drones from Russia and Iran since 2023. American intelligence claims Cuban military planners have discussed potential drone attacks on the US naval base at Guantanamo Bay, American warships, and even Key West, Florida, just 90 miles from Havana. The Trump administration reportedly sees the issue as part of a wider security challenge involving Iran, Russia, and modern drone warfare. Officials stress there is no evidence of an imminent Cuban attack, but they say Havana appears to be studying how drones have changed modern conflicts in places like Ukraine and the Middle East. What especially concerns Washington is the reported presence of Iranian military advisors in Cuba, and claims that Cuban intelligence officials are trying to understand how Iran has resisted US pressure for decades. To American officials, the fear is not traditional Cuban military power. It is the possibility of low-cost drones being used asymmetrically close to US territory. The alleged drone buildup is closely tied to Cuba's expanding military links with Russia and Iran. US officials claim Cuba has requested drones and military equipment from Moscow in recent weeks. They also estimate thousands of Cuban soldiers have fought alongside Russian forces in Ukraine, where drone warfare has become central to the battlefield. American intelligence believes those fighters may have learned tactics connected to Iranian drone operations. Iran's drones have already played major roles in conflicts across the Middle East, targeting military bases and threatening shipping routes. US officials fear similar methods could eventually appear much closer to America's shores. Washington is also worried about Russian and Chinese intelligence infrastructure inside Cuba, including suspected surveillance facilities capable of monitoring activity near the United States. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth described hostile foreign activity so close to the US coastline as highly problematic. Meanwhile, pressure on Havana is increasing. CIA Director John Ratcliffe reportedly visited Cuba and warned officials against engaging in hostile actions. The Justice Department is also preparing charges against former Cuban leader Raul Castro over the 1996 downing of planes operated by Brothers to the Rescue. The confrontation between Washington and Havana now appears to be escalating on several fronts at once. Cuba is rejecting the accusations completely. Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez Parilla accused the United States of creating what he called a fraudulent case to justify harsher sanctions and possible intervention. Havana insists it does not seek war and says every country has the right to defend itself under international law. Importantly, even US officials admit Cuba is not considered an immediate military threat. Reuters also said it could not independently verify the Axios report. But American officials argue drones have changed modern warfare dramatically. Unlike fighter jets or missiles, drones are cheaper, harder to detect, and capable of causing disruption without large conventional forces. That is why Washington is paying close attention to developments only 90 miles from Florida. More than 60 years after the Cuban Missile Crisis, tensions between the United States and Cuba may once again be entering dangerous territory, this time driven not by nuclear missiles, but by drones, surveillance, and growing geopolitical rivalry.